All right. Good evening, everyone in Pakistan, and good morning, people in North America, and good afternoon, people in Europe. I think, Nick.
Yeah,
so,
that's right.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone, and uh, welcome everyone in this live webinar where we are going to discuss anything relating to VAT, value added tax, in UK, Germany, Spain, Italy, and so many other European countries. And we will try to understand the intricacies of what happens when it comes to VAT. With me, I have Nick Penuf and Tosif Aslam from Hello Tax. Both of them have vast experience in this space. They are very well equipped and experienced when it comes to VAT or VAT or compliances for e-commerce sellers, especially Amazon and other e-commerce platforms. Nick, just to introduce, I would like to welcome you to Extreme Commerce platform. It's Pakistan's largest e-commerce platform and ecosystem that's put in place and founded by Sunny Ali. He himself is a seasoned Amazon seller. Now he's leading this whole revolution in Pakistan and across the world. Our reach has not been limited to Pakistan, but we are also very much present and active overseas Pakistan. So with this, while we are doing a lot of sessions with different friends who are working in different domains of Amazon selling or other e-commerce platforms, we thought that it will be really good if we can get you on board and hear from you on how effectively we can manage this whole VAT in UK and in European countries. Because after Brexit, there have been so many changes which have taken place since January 2021. Even Amazon has also introduced some changes in VAT application and VAT management and other compliances for Amazon sellers and other e-commerce sellers. So we would like to take some learnings out of your own experiences and what HelloTex can do to facilitate our Amazon sellers or be it eBay sellers, Etsy sellers, or any other platform. So this would be an interesting thing that we would like to hear from you. How to automate it? How do we address these VAT issues? How do we ensure that we efficiently manage this whole VAT system so that at the end of the day we do have a maximum profitability out of our Amazon selling. Since Tosif is also he's part of your team, he has his own experience in UK market as well, and he himself is from accountancy background. I think he would also be a very pivotal in this whole conversation, where he can specifically talk about UK, how VAT can be taken care of, at what stage we should address those VAT related questions and concerns, and we would also like to hear from him that um, what are the different suggestions that you would like to give to people who have their company based in UK and they are selling on Amazon.co.uk, and I would like to hear from him on his advices for people who are overseas UK and they have their own LLCs in USA or in other countries, and what approach they should be taking in order to get maximum benefit out of this VAT system. So while they are selling on Amazon.co.uk, Tosif should be able to help our audience to understand this in more detail. That what approaches should be taken at what stage. Should let's say be it at the start or be it at the end or middle what. And there are so many other questions which will also keep flooding through our audience right now. We have some audience popping up, and the numbers is building up, and they would also be encouraged to ask questions from this panel, and take maximum benefit out of this whole session, because the audience will have this first-hand experience. They can post their specific situation and ask this panel about how to address those issues and concerns when it comes to VAT management. So Nick, over to you, and let's start.
Thank you,
And proceed.
Masood, thank you for the introduction. And everybody knows the saying: there is nothing certain in life but Brexit and taxes. I'm joking. It's death and taxes, but Brexit has been very hot topic recently. Even though one-stop shop is even hotter. So if Brexit is complicated, the one-stop shop it's a big mess. But we'll talk about that in July. So thank you again for the introduction. I'm the partnership manager at Tax, Nick Bennett. I've been with the company for more than half a year, and I used to be an e-commerce seller for 10 years. So I joined Tax because I used to be a client of them for some time. So I know from experience how it helps actual e-commerce businesses to be VAT compliant across Europe. So some quick introduction about Tax. The actual co-founders, Christian and Christoph, they used to be Amazon sellers. They had their own agency and their own brand. So they were looking for a VAT compliance solution who can help sellers when they're selling cross-border. And obviously, most solutions are not tailored for online sellers. So what they decided to do is to actually build a SaaS solution which helps the actual Amazon sellers and e-commerce sellers to be VAT compliant, so they can leave the VAT to us and they can actually concentrate on expanding to different markets and just running their business. So I'll do a quick introduction just for you guys to get an idea of how it looks right from the seller's perspective, because seeing is believing, so that's the best thing to do. So let me just share my screen, and I'll show exactly what you see if you're like a client. Do you guys see my screen?
Yeah. Okay, just a second. No, not yet. Okay. Yes.
Okay,
yeah.
So you see, so let's assume that you're just logging into the system. Now you've done with the VAT registration, which to save we'll talk in more details after as well. Once you come to the system, you just log in, email, password, just the regular stuff. You come here to the settings, integrations. If you're an Amazon seller, which are majority of our clients, you just put your seller ID, authorization token, save, and that's it. There is nothing else that you need to do in terms of that. Then you'll be able to see, we'll get the data automatically from Amazon. So this is fully automated. We have your gross turnover, net turnover, total VAT. You can filter that by Amazon FBA or your own web shop or a different channel that you're using. You can filter that by country, by period. Here you have the actual orders that we're getting from these reports. You can filter by sales, expense, refund, given, received, assets movement. Assets movement is required to be reported in some markets in Europe, so we have that as well. You can filter again by channel, by country. For the assets movement, you can filter from which country to which one you're moving goods. And after we file the actual return for the whatever country you have registered with us, we upload in the returns tab the actual VAT return that you need to pay. So you come here, you read that, then download it, and confirm payment. And this is the only thing that the seller needs to do. You need to actually connect, integrate, then we do the filing for one or multiple markets depending on where you're selling. You then read the return, pay it, and that's it.
So Nick, just a question. So what I get is, so you completely automate this whole VAT process for the Amazons or whoever the seller is, correct?
Exactly. I mean, the only thing
so even the filing is also managed by you and your team.
Exactly. I mean, they don't need to do anything.
Okay.
I mean,
one more question.
Once they're connected.
So for example, do you pay or file based on the selling price, or is it what you get the income earnings in your bank account? So
no.
Can you please do the for audience?
We actually, it's a fixed fee in general. It doesn't matter if you sell like 10,000 or 10 million the fee for the filing is the same. We have like a
No, I'm
monthly
saying
fee.
I'm saying for the UK government, for example. So you pay the VAT. Yeah, good.
Maybe I could answer on that. What Nick is saying is usually how HelloTax is charging our own customers, and I think what you are asking is about the taxation related,
Correct.
uh,
Correct.
yeah, revolution behind it. So it's the sales price. It's not the earnings that you are getting in your bank account. VAT is charged on the sale price, so that's what we report in our reports. I will talk about it in more
Okay.
detail.
Perfect.
With Nick.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay.
Okay, Masood. So
Go
let
ahead,
me
Nick.
just
Yeah.
feel
Awesome.
free to introduce me. No worries. So after this is done, this is the tax letter inbox. Obviously, different tax authorities they communicate in their home language. So obviously, they don't talk English everywhere. So what we do, we get the communication, email or letters from the tax authorities, and we upload it here for the actual sellers. And we have a template translation so they would know in English or in German exactly what is required to be done by them, where they actually contact their account manager and they take care of the actual process. And the one thing that is probably the unique thing about HealthTax is the software that I just showed you, that's free. If you don't exceed the threshold, which would not be that important in July with the one-stop shop, or if you don't store goods, you can use the software and don't pay anything. So, for example, you're let's say you have obviously need to have one location in Europe that you're storing goods. So let's say Germany. If you have Germany as a location, obviously you need to pay VAT there, but you can add all the markets in Europe here, like Austria, Poland, Spain, Italy, and you can deliver from Germany to the rest of Europe. And what our software will do, it's going to actually monitor the sales across the different channels. So, for example, like in the demo here, if you hit the threshold in Austria, it would let you know, hello, Maksud, threshold limit exceeded on this date. So you will know that you're obligated to register. We cannot force you, obviously, but of course, 99% of the clients proceed and do it for
Awesome.
us.
So it's a one window solution, regardless whether I'm in UK or I'm selling. I want to sell in Germany. So this whole platform of HelloTax will be addressing and resolving all my issues.
Actually, exactly. You need at least one market. So let's say Germany, Netherlands, Spain. It doesn't matter.
Mm.
You can use it for the rest of the others. So the other
Yeah,
two.
so usually, Nick, what happens is many of our sellers they're selling on Amazon.co.uk, and at times they also planning to expand their operations in Germany, and they want to sell in Germany or they want to sell in Netherlands. So I think for a VAT related matters, I think HelloTex would help them. Correct?
Yeah, exactly. This is what we specialize in. We
Excellent.
specialize in cross-border selling. So, for example, if you're a German seller selling in Germany, we don't provide that. We only provide if a home country seller is trying to expand outside of their home country. So, this is what we specialize in.
Okay,
And
cool.
obviously, I mean, the other two, the last thing that I'll notice the storage detection threshold, because when you move stock in any market in Europe, you're obligated to register. And actually, we detect that because for sometimes sellers don't know that or they're just moving stock. And the thing is, we notify them so they can register as soon as possible because otherwise you can avoid penalties because it's recommended that you do it in advance. But in case you do it before you register, you need to do it as soon as possible.
So VAT
So
registration, in Germany will also be taken care of by HelloTax.
exactly. Well,
And
actually,
how long does it take to complete this process?
on the regular, for Europe is probably 6 to 12 weeks for the VAT
Right.
registration, and like the quickest one is like Poland, and I think Netherlands is one of the quickest one, and the slowest one is Spain because in Spain they require original documents. They want your brother's name, mother's name, I mean, I'm just joking, but they want a lot of stuff. So Spain is the hardest one. So,
Right.
but actually, to save right now, actually pass it to him so we can actually do like a short presentation and let you know exactly what we cover, how it works, and everything. Because what I showed you is the front end. Because our main goal is to be as easy as possible for the actual sellers. And on the back end, we have account managers in multiple languages and tax agents in each market. So
Mhm.
thank you, Maksud, and to
So
say
awesome. Awesome. I think this was a good intro of HelloText and how this automation is helping Amazon sellers. Now over to Tosif and let's hear from him. Yeah.
Hello, Maksud. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for the opportunity to talk about tax on your platform. Um, okay, I've also shared my screen in the meanwhile. Can everyone see my screen?
Yeah, it's visible. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, as I was saying, hello to everyone. I'm here. I will be talking about taxation, especially VAT. So as Nick was explaining and showing that that how HelloTax is handling different aspects of registration, taxation regarding VAT for e-commerce sellers. So I will go a little bit more in detail about those taxes and give you a little bit more insight about it. So let's start. First of all, I would talk about the reasons to register for VAT. Since I know that a lot of our audience are from Pakistan, so and they would need to incorporate or a company or a business somewhere in the UK or in the EU to carry on their business. So some of this stuff might not be relevant to you directly, might only be relevant to European sellers, and but most of it would definitely be relevant to you. So as I was talking about the reasons for registration of VAT, number one, what you must remember is if you are storing in any EU country, including the UK, if you store your goods there, you must register for VAT. It's a rule of thumb. So the new regulations which were implemented in the UK from 1st of January 2021, and almost the same regulations will be implemented in the rest of the Europe from 1st of July 2021. Even in those regulations, this rule of thumb has not been changed. So if you are storing in any EU country, including UK, then you must register for VAT in that country. Another reason would be if, for example, you are registered in one of the EU country, and then you are distance selling from that EU country into another EU country. Now, I'm not sure if everyone would understand what distance selling is. Distance selling is when you are selling from one EU country into another EU country.
So let's say from Germany to Netherlands, for example.
Yeah, from Germany to Netherlands. But the key is it cannot be between two businesses. It has to be from a business directly to the consumer. So when a sale is from a business directly to a consumer, it's called distance sales when both parties are in the EU. So for short, as you know that we mentioned such transaction as B2C. So if you are doing B2C from one EU country into another EU country, then there is a distance selling threshold, which if you have met, then you must register for VAT in that destination country. So it's a little bit tricky. I hope everyone understands it. If not, feel free to ask about it in the questions. So this threshold, currently it is implemented. This will change in 1st of July 2021. I could talk a little bit about that as well, those new regulations of OSS. So currently this threshold is different for each country. For example, in Germany, this is 100,000 euro. In France, it is 35,000 euro. So it will be anywhere between 35,000 euro to 100,000 euro till July 2021. So if you have exceeded that threshold, then you must register for VAT in that country as well. Now, the tricky part is that the threshold is not counted from one country to another. It's counted in the destination country. So as Maksud was saying that from Germany to Netherlands, it will not be just from Germany to Netherlands. For example, if you are selling from Germany, from Poland, from Czech Republic, from Italy, from Spain into Netherlands, collectively, if you cross the threshold of say 35,000 euros, then you must register for VAT in Netherlands. So
Okay. Awesome.
the threshold is on the destination country basis, not from the dispatching country.
Origin country, correct.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
So this threshold is fixed across Europe, or it varies from country to country?
It varies from country to country.
Okay, so for
If
example,
you
let's say someone is saying, asking, so what is threshold for if I'm selling from UK to let's say Germany or Netherlands?
Mhm, mhm. I will come to that just in the third slide, because now there is no threshold due to Brexit. UK is out of the EU now. So for UK, there is no threshold now. If you are selling from UK to Germany, then you are exporting, and that is a completely different game. But if you are, for example, selling from Germany to France, then the threshold is 35,000 euros in France. If you are
Correct.
selling, for example, Netherlands to Germany, the threshold is 100,000 euro in Germany.
Correct. Got it.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. These new changes, let me come to them in the third slide. Uh, so I will talk about them a little bit right now. What kind of changes have been implemented? How it affects the e-commerce sellers, especially our Pakistani community. The As I know from my experience and from our client base as well, most of Pakistani sellers are incorporating their companies either in US or and in European market they would tend towards UK. One of the main reason definitely is the language, easy to understand, and the UK's infrastructure is mostly digital, so it's very easy for incorporation of company, and then later on your compliance as well. So those were two biggest reasons, and also UK was one of the biggest e-commerce market. I'm not sure if it still is, but Germany is competing as well. So
Yeah.
those were the reasons. Uh, Due to Brexit, what happened is previously you would be able to sell from your UK warehouses or UK company to all of the Europe, which you could still do. But now, when you do that, that would be counted as an export from the UK into the EU, rather than a simple goods movement between EU, which was very easy for Amazon as well. So that has changed, and with that, what happened was UK was ahead of the rest of the Europe, and they introduced a new set of rules that is called UK e-commerce package 2021. And in that, they have changed, or they have shifted the liability from the seller over to the marketplace, so in this case Amazon. I will talk more in detail which when this responsibility is shifted, and what happened when the responsibility is shifted towards the marketplace. So if someone who was based in first let's talk about the UK. If someone who was based in the UK and they want now to sell in the EU, what they need to do is, okay, the EU. Okay, so what they would need to do is they have an option either to incorporate a company in anywhere in the EU, or they could hire a customs agent for their importation of goods into the EU. Now that hiring of customs agent is not a problem, but what will happen now is the representation which the custom agent will give in this case, since UK is no longer part of the EU, they would require indirect representation. So I would not go very much into detail of customs representation because that's a very technical topic, and not the scope of this webinar as well. But direct and indirect representation, the difference is in indirect representation, the custom agent will take the responsibility and fill in the documents in his own name rather than the business name. So that is more expensive, definitely more risky for the customs agent. So, and definitely for seller, it would be expensive, as I just mentioned. Other option, as I mentioned, is they could incorporate a company in the UK, sorry, in the EU. And once they have, and they would definitely, since they are storing in any country of the EU, as mentioned earlier, they would need to register for VAT in at least one EU country. And once they are registered there, then they would have the same privileges as any other EU-based business at this point. the same would be true for a EU-based business who would want to move or sell now in the UK. This might not be too much relevant for our Pakistani audience, as I know most of them are established in the UK, but it will be the mirror image in this case. So they would either need to incorporate a company in the UK or hire a customs agent in the UK providing indirect representation and register for VAT in the UK.
Yeah, so
Another
we
thing,
have many Pakistani sellers who are based in different countries of Europe,
Mhm.
and they do have interest, and many of them are also planning to sell or selling actively in UK right now.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
then definitely it is relevant. Okay, so one thing that might be more of interest to you is the EORI number. The EORI number is basically required for importation. So whenever you are importing any kind of goods into the EU, you need this EORI number. Previously, just one EORI number was okay for all of the 28 countries, but that has changed with the Brexit as well. Now you would need a different EORI number for UK and a different EORI number for the rest of the EU. So now, if you already have an EU EORI number, then you need to apply for the UK one as well if you are planning to move
So
to the
Tosif,
UK.
what if I had my URI pre-Brexit? So will that
Uh,
be applicable for all Europe countries, or we have to again go for a new URI?
Actually, that depends. Where did you get that EORI number? If you got
UK.
that EORI, yeah. So now you would need another EORI number for the EU.
Okay.
Yeah, and if you had an EU EORI number, for example, you registered that in Germany, then you would need then that would be still applicable for 27 countries, but you would need a different one for the UK.
UK. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, these are the big chunk of rules. So I would try to go in as much detail which is acceptable to your audience, and they would understand it in one go, and not any more than that. So what happened on 1st of January 2021 is that the UK government decided to shift the liability of VAT for non-UK sellers from the seller over to the marketplace. So that's not just Amazon, it could be Shopify, Etsy, etc.
Hmm. Hmm.
And that same thing will happen on 1st of July in the rest of the Europe as well. But there are some set of rules. The
Yeah. So
biggest
sorry to
misconception.
cut you off, Tosif. So for simplicity purpose, for my audience, so in
Mhm,
other words, Amazon has been asked by UK government that you need to collect VAT
mhm,
yourself, not
mhm.
the online seller, for example. So
Exactly.
so so UK so Amazon.co.uk, whenever they're making any sales, so Amazon itself will collect the VAT, and
Mhm,
then Amazon will give back to the seller, correct?
mhm.
And the filing is the responsibility of the seller, not Amazon. Please elaborate this part.
Yes. The first two are correct, and I will elaborate the third part because there is a split of responsibility between Amazon and the seller.
Yeah.
So definitely correct because of all of the VAT frauds which were going on in the EU as well as UK for a lot of years, and those numbers are mentioned in millions every year. So they tried to counter that by shifting the responsibility from the seller over to the marketplace. So now, but there are some rules regarding that as well. Number one, it is only for non-UK based sellers. Number two, it is the Amazon will be responsible for VAT or VAT on those transactions which are taking place from outside of the UK, or the transaction or the trade is coming from outside of the UK into the UK, and it's not a B2B. So it's a B2C going from business over to consumer. Number one. Number two, Amazon is also responsible for the transactions in the UK when you are storing in your goods in the UK and you are not a UK based seller. So if you are, for example, from anywhere, even if you are from the EU and you are storing your goods in the UK, Amazon will be responsible to collect VAT on those transactions and pass it on over to the tax authorities, and you get the net value in your pocket after the VAT. But in that case, if you are storing in the UK, so remember the rule of thumb that you must register for VAT. So in that case, you would have to report your sales through your own VAT return as well, do the filings yourself, but you would not be paying the VAT on those transactions because Amazon already has paid the VAT on those transactions. You just would need to report them. Other than that, B2B transactions within the UK would be the seller's own responsibility. And if you are importing into the UK from any country outside the UK, then the threshold is £135 per shipment. So it's very important to understand that 135 is the value of the shipment. If your shipment is above 135 pounds, sorry if I said euros, if it is above 135 pounds, then Amazon will not be responsible. Then the seller himself will be responsible, do all of that, import the goods into the UK, do the registration, have a VAT registration, Eri number, or he could ask the customer to pay the VAT and deal with customs himself, which I do not think so a lot of Amazon sellers would do. So these are the key distinctions which have been introduced from 1st of January 2021 into the UK. And from 1st of July, they would also be introduced in rest of the EU for non-EU sellers from July 2021. Okay, there is one more thing that I would like to talk about, which is not part of this webinar as much because that's, as Nick explained, is a very big topic, might not be covered in just one webinar. That's OSS, one-stop shop. These changes which are coming from 1st of July 2021 in the EU, they are now demolishing that distance sales threshold, which I explained earlier in the webinar. Now, what will happen is you would just need to register for EU-based sellers. They need to register in their home country now. So someone based in France would need to register in France, and someone in Germany. But for non-EU sellers, especially like our Pakistani community, they can choose any country, any EU country. They would need to have the VAT registration there, and then they can register for OSS in that country. For example, they could choose Germany, they could choose France, they could choose Italy, any country. And once they are registered in that particular country for VAT first and then for OSS, then they could report all of the distance sale movement, so all of the B2C movement in the EU from just one single return. So that's kind of a simplicity which has been introduced for sellers. Previously, they would need to, whenever they cross the distance sales threshold, they would need to register. They would need to file the returns in that country as well. So one seller would end up registering and filing returns in 4 or 5 EU countries. So now they can do that from just one EU country and through one single return. But the catch is you would not be storing in more than one country. So if you are storing in more than one country, you can still use OSS, but then again, rule of thumb, you must register for in all of the countries where you are storing. So these are the new changes which will be coming into the EU from 1st of July 2021. So this is a little bit brief, which I just gave about the taxes, how they are implemented in the UK and the rest of the EU. So these are our sales consultants. You could just have a talk with them if you need anything more on these topics. Over to you, Maksud.
Okay, awesome. I think Dosi, this is quite interesting, and thank you very much for detailed explanation of all various aspects of VAT and in UK and European countries. And I think OSS is going to be extremely helpful for all the overseas sellers. So can you please remind me when is this taking place? OSS, one stop solution.
Yes, it definitely will be helpful for the sellers, unfortunately not for us. We will be losing a lot of clients. It's taking place on 1st of July 2021.
Awesome. So almost 2 months, 3 months down the road. Okay.
Yeah.
So with this, obviously we will aim for those countries where the EURI and VAT processing is faster than others, because like Nick was stating in the beginning that Spain is quite difficult when it comes to VAT recession. So yeah, this is good. I'll come down to questions because many friends have started asking questions. So we do that. Before I come down to the questions, I have a couple of questions in my head as well. There are two situations. Situation one is right now I'm specifically talking about those sellers, regardless of their origin of country of birth, whether I'm Pakistani born, I'm Pakistani presently resident of UK, and I am planning to sell on Amazon.co.uk. Very simplified situation. Okay. Now I have Amazon.co.uk with me as a tax consultant. What is your advice? That what kind of VAT scheme should I opt for? Because my company is my LLC, everything is registered in UK. Then my second part of the question would be the flip side. For those sellers who are overseas, regardless of their country, whether they are in USA, Canada, Ireland, or any other countries, non-EU countries, let's say, or more simplified, non-EU countries, and they want to sell on Amazon.co.uk. Okay. Again, what is your advice for them when with regards to VAT scheme and VAT registration, and how they should plan effectively to get that? Those overseas sellers, their LLC is also based in their origin country. For example, if I'm a USA resident, so my company is established. LLC is in USA, and I'm planning to sell on Amazon.co.uk. So these are the two situations. Please give us your advice.
Okay. I actually this morning I got the same question, more or less the same question from one of your client actually.
Yeah, elite member. He's our elite members. Yes. Okay.
Yeah. Actually, when you are registered for VAT, either you are resident UK or you are non-resident UK. That is not the pivotal point of which kind of scheme you should get into. The most popular scheme, which I hear about from e-commerce sellers a lot, is the flat rate scheme.
7.5%.
Yeah, 7.5%. Even there is, if I could just entice you a little bit more, you could even go for 4% or 0%. Yes, in hodling. And okay, but the thing is, you need to see how much input VAT you need to claim. So let me explain the input VAT. Everything, when you are registered for VAT, you have two responsibilities. You need to charge VAT to your customers, and number two, you can claim every kind of VAT that your business takes in, because VAT is a charge on the consumer, never on the business. The business only acts as an agent. So it collects the VAT and pass it on to the tax authorities. So if a business suffers VAT itself, it has 100% right, as long as it is registered 100%, to claim that VAT back. So every business has to make that decision based on how much of an input VAT they have. So if you don't have a lot of let's take the perfect case, and a business which has zero input VAT, they don't need to claim anything back. So the best option for them is go for the flat rate scheme. In the flat rate scheme, for example, they are given a 7.5% of VAT. So they would be charging their customers 20% VAT and paying the tax authorities 7.5% VAT The rest of it, they will pocket themselves, which is 100% legal. But if you have a lot of input VAT, so in that case, you will be losing all of that input VAT because in the flat rate scheme, you are not allowed to claim back anything regarding the VAT. So
can you elaborate? Let's say I'm trying to act as a layman and ask on my audience behalf. So when you say input, obviously if I'm importing something from China, so I source my product from China, I'm sending them over to UK and storing them in either a UK warehouse or an Amazon UK warehouse. Now I'm selling, and my sale is about, let's say, $10,000, 10,000 pounds per month in revenue, and my annual revenue is 120,000 pounds. So now, can you please elaborate this 7.5% scheme for this particular case?
Okay. So in this particular case, when you are importing for as you just mentioned, 10,000 pounds. Let's make it pounds so it will be more easy. 10,000 pounds. So you will suffer a 20% import VAT when you import those goods into the UK.
Correct. So, and I have to pay it at the customs, at the port, 20%.
Yeah, at the port you would have to clear that, or your shipping agent can clear that for you, and then you could reclaim it back. So normally you have a 100% right to claim it back. So in this case, you paid a VAT of 2,000 pounds. Then you would be selling those goods, and now you are registered at a 7.5%. So you lost that 2,000 euros. But now when you are selling that over to your customers, you would still be charging a 20% VAT. At 100,000 pounds, that would become 120,000. So you would pay 7.5% on the gross amount, not on the net. So that would not be 100,000 pounds. That would be 120,000 pounds. So you would pay 7.5% of 120,000 pounds over to tax authorities and keep the rest in your pocket.
Awesome.
Yeah.
How about how about some sellers, for example, in the case which we discussed in the morning for our elite member, he has his Amazon.com account, and his LLC is also based in USA, and now he's planning to sell by opting the option of sell globally, and he is planning to sell in UK. So what is your advice for this scenario? What scheme should he apply for, and how this whole VAT will be treated and managed?
Okay. I would not give a definite suggestion or opinion on this case right now, because I would have to study the case first. Let me give you just a small example. UK is now out of the EU, but just let's consider it is still in the EU for our audience. Whenever you move your goods from one country of the EU to another EU country, for the VAT purposes, it will be treated as a sale. Even if you move those goods just for your own sake, for example, you move them from Germany to say Netherlands, this will be treated as a sale. So you would have to pay that VAT on that movement of goods, but at the same time, since you are VAT registered, you are allowed to claim back that VAT. So the net effect is zero, you see. But again, now think about the flat rate scheme in this case. You moved your own goods, but now you are not allowed to claim back that VAT, and you would be paying VAT on your movement of your own goods. You see, so every seller must very carefully think about what kind of movement of goods he has, what kind of purchases he has, for example, if they are investing in digital services and that supplier is charging them VAT, so they would have to consider all of them, all of their input VAT and their output VAT, and then decide on which kind of scheme they would want to take.
Okay, Tosi, one more question. Let's say I am registered on 7.5% FRS flat rate scheme, and I'm selling. And at what stage I should be able to upgrade because my sales has gone beyond the threshold which is eligible for 7.5%?
Yeah, that's actually a great question. I'm glad you asked, because I missed that very important point. That's 150,000 pounds. If your business is above that revenue, then you are not eligible for FRS.
Yeah, but at what stage? I mean, Usually what happens if I've started selling today and it takes some time to reach to that threshold, right? I cannot
Mhm.
touch, let's say, in order to be 150,000, I need to at least have 10 between 10 to 12,000 of pounds per month, right? So annually, then I can touch around 150. So it takes almost 12 months. So is the tax authority very precise about the fact that, okay, oh, you touched 150 at, let's say, 10th month, you need to register, you need to leave this scheme immediately, or
Yeah,
there's any relaxation or flexibility?
yeah. Actually, I can see that you are very technical in the in the taxation matters. What happens is these are kind of questions arise in audits then, and the UK tax authority are going into audits very often. It's called compliance check, and it's your sellers could expect it very soon if they have started selling. They are getting very stricter on it. So these kind of questions arise during the audit. Definitely, there is a little bit relaxation. Given on the human perspective that okay, you were doing a business, you are a little bit late. In any case, you would have to pay the actual VAT, which you didn't because you didn't shift on time. You would have, but you will not be penalized. But if you missed, like for example, for 6 months, definitely. For general rule of thumb, I could tell you what the rule of thumb is for shifting any kind of VAT scheme or registration of VAT. That is 30 days. So if you can already predict that you would be crossing this threshold in the next 30 days, you need to register for either shift of scheme or VAT registration or anything before 30 days. And if you couldn't predict, that is something you would have to prove during the audit. If you couldn't predict, then you have 30 days after crossing that threshold.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'll take questions from our audience because I do have some more questions, but let's learn from them. Okay,
Yeah.
I think this gentleman, this Krishna, I learned that there's a threshold of 85,000 pounds in UK for taxable turnover. If the sale is made outside UK, will it be treated as taxable sales? Good question, I think.
Okay. First of all, let's talk about the 85,000 pound of threshold. The 85,000 pound threshold is the general VAT threshold for registration in the UK when you are trading in the UK. Whenever imports are involved, whenever transactions from outside of the UK into the UK are involved, then that completely changes for you. Your first import will make you liable for the registration of VAT. So there is no threshold at all when you are importing your goods from outside of the UK into the UK. So number two, what did he say is if the sale is made outside the UK, will it be treated as a taxable sales? I'm not sure if I understand this question correctly. What is meant if the sale is made outside of the UK? My answer would be who made the sale? Is it the UK company or a foreign company? Which VAT registration or which VAT number, if the company was already registered, was used on the invoice? So that would determine if it is a taxable sale in the UK or not.
Yeah. Okay, I'll go for some more questions. Okay. So Farkunda is asking, how about having a limited in UK but selling in USA? So we were considering all the US sellers selling in UK. How about a UK based company wants to sell in USA? This is a good question, I think.
Yeah. Okay. So whenever you have a company incorporated in the UK, I would only talk about the UK because I have no expertise in the US market. So when you have a company in the UK, the things that you would need to do is compliance, reporting your sales, paying profits on your paying taxes on your profits. So that's something you would have to keep in mind. From the goods movement perspective, anything going outside of the UK, even into the EU, even into the France, just the next door, it's an export. And from VAT perspective, VAT rate on export is 0%.
Okay, I think I'll elaborate this question a little more. So what happens is the situation is following. Your company is based in UK and you were selling on Amazon.co.uk. Now you are trying to go sell globally and you want to sell on Amazon.com. So in that perspective, what happens is Amazon collects VAT as well. In USA it sells tax. So then there's a remittance which happens for a UK based company into their bank accounts. So then it becomes the earning. So I'm assuming that somebody who has a UK based company, he will be paying taxes on the earnings, not the sales, because sales is already being collected in US.
Mhm. Okay. Now there are two different things. If we are talking about corporate taxes, that is always paid on profits. If we are talking about VAT, that's
VAT
always on.
slash sales tax in USA, for example.
Yeah. So in this case, if a company is selling in the US, so definitely they have paid the sales tax over there. Their sales would be reported in the corporation. Now we are not talking about the VAT because they are paying sales tax in the US.
Yeah.
Their sales would be reported in their corporation taxes, and any kind of taxes which they already have paid, either in UK or outside of the UK. That would depend if UK has a double taxation treaty with that country. That could be deducted as tax credits, but that's not true for every kind of sales that you have made in any foreign country. So that is something you would have to see if I could reclaim that sales tax in the UK. But sales tax generally is not reclaimable in another country. This is something that you could reclaim in the same country where you are in, where you are getting affected by those. For example, in case of UK, you could collect that VAT from the UK government to whom you are paying the VAT, not from any foreign government.
I think very clear. I think Farkunda needs to check if there's any double taxation treaty, and if the corporation is a net loss, then obviously the corporate tax will not happen. You can't
Yeah.
give anything on the loss, so you need to. So I
Yeah.
think she's smart enough what to do.
Unless you get into an audit, in which case the losses might turn into profits. I highly
Well,
highly
somebody
recommend
who
them.
wants to. I don't know how this corporation is working. I'm not sure whether the expenses are so huge or not, but I'm just putting up scenario here.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so I think this is pretty different question. Haris is asking, we are an Australian company selling in UK, importing our product from China. Annual revenue is £60,000. Post Brexit, what would be your advice? Should we not register for VAT at all or register with FRC?
Okay. So goods are coming from China into UK. There is no point for you to consider if you should or shouldn't. You must. If your business is importing those goods in your own name, unless you are using an agent who are doing the import for you, in which case it is very important to know. In 2019, a regulation was passed in the UK. Now only the business who imported the goods in their own name could reclaim the import VAT back. So if the customs agent did that for you, then the custom agent could claim back the import VAT, not your business. So not complicating the question any further, I would say if you are importing in your own name, in your business name, you must register for VAT. You wouldn't be able to import into UK if you are not VAT registered. Number one. Number two, you would also need to register for EORI for the importation. And number three is either to go for FRS or not. I would say annual revenue is 60K. I would say that again, that depends on your input VAT, how much of input VAT you are suffering in the UK, not just the import VAT, but all the other input VAT, any kind of purchases of services or goods that you are suffering in the UK. So that depends. If your input VAT is more than your output VAT, or it's a bigger chunk of cash flow for you, then you shouldn't go for the FRS. But if it is not, you could go for FRS.
Yeah, in many cases, the Amazon sellers, the major input is basically the cost of products, the cost of goods sold. So the inventory cost, I would say.
Yeah.
The rest of the things are very, very small. So I think in his case, it seems like 7.5% FRC is what he should be opting for now. The 60,000 is very less. It's just 5,000 per month, which is, I think, he still have a long way to go. Okay, we have, by the way, very knowledgeable audience, and you can guess it from the questions. Mohammed Ibrahim is asking, as I understand, VAT is paid on quarterly basis. So if in any given quarter our projected revenue exceeds minimum threshold of 85,000, we'll have to register for regular VAT. So he's talking about the impact of threshold, which I asked earlier. What if after registration of regular VAT in any incoming, so there's a fluctuation of revenue basically. What he's saying is, please
Yeah,
go ahead.
I got the question. Yes. Yeah, definitely. So if in the regular case, as you said, the audience did understand it perfectly. It's actually a very good question and a very technical one, and I'm glad it is being asked, because now I have an opportunity to enlighten our audience with a new phenomena that's called exemption from VAT. So if your revenue is fluctuating, and you think that you will cross the threshold in the next month or so, but this is just seasonal, or this is a once in a time, or I'm not very much familiar with Amazon, but like a viral video, something like happened there. So in that case, you could apply for VAT exemption from the tax authorities. You would be given an exemption for a period of time, and for in that period of time, you wouldn't need to register for VAT. Another scenario, if you did register for VAT and then you fall back from that threshold, you could stay registered for VAT, your choice. If not, you could get deregistered.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
One more question. So we usually source from China or Pakistan. Many goods we also source from Pakistan, and we send it to UK, because obviously because of the bilateral trade agreement between UK and Pakistan, there is a good advantage for Pakistani sellers to export, or let's say import products from Pakistan to UK. And there's a benefit, okay, because of the customs and import duties. So Pakistani textile products more specifically. Would you recommend there is a possibility that even the VAT collection at the port can be deferred? So is there any impact if we offer deferment, or do you prefer to pay that upfront at the port? So
Okay.
this tackles the cash flow management as well.
Yeah. Actually, there is a scheme that's called Postpone Accounting. You could opt for that, and in that case, you wouldn't have to pay your import VAT on the import on the port. Rather than you would pay your import VAT in your next VAT return. And again, when you are registered for VAT, you are 100% eligible to claim that back. So in that case, you wouldn't need to pay anything. So you would mention it as payable, you would mention it as receivable, and the net effect would be zero. So there is an option for the VAT deferment account. So if you opt for the postpone accounting, then yes, you can defer your import.
Excellent. I think this helps a lot of sellers, because if I'm let's say importing inventory worth £50,000, and the 20% VAT is like £10,000, instead of paying them upfront, I offer a deferment, and then this 10,000 can be plugged in my establishing the business. The new sellers.
Yeah, definitely.
Excellent. I have a couple of other really good questions, so I would like to post. So Mubashir is asking a very good question. US LLC selling in UK via Amazon, VAT registered FRS 7.5%. How much seller has to file the return, as Amazon is already charging 20% from the customer, filing to HMRC on seller's behalf? Do we file 7.5% or 20%?
Okay, that definitely is a very good question. Actually, the in all of my webinars, this is the one that I have given so much, and I've talked about so many things, and I'm glad. Actually, this is another downfall of the FRS with the new UK e-commerce package 2021. Amazon is charging at 20%, and you are charging at you are still charging at 20%, but you are claiming back, or you are paying over to a tax authority at 7.5%. So all the transactions on which Amazon is charging, they would charge at 20%. That is a hit to your FRS, and you cannot claim that back, because that's Amazon charged in their own Amazon LLC or whatever company they have, and they would pay that VAT over to a tax authorities. you could only pay the 20% or 7.5% on the transactions which the seller is responsible for. So if someone is doing that through their own website, they would be doing it on 100% of their transactions. But someone trading on Amazon would only be doing on a very minute number of transactions, which the seller is responsible for himself. That would mostly be B2B transactions, and B2B you do charge VAT, but that would be a very small number of transactions.
Okay.
Yeah.
One more question. When we talk about the input, obviously inventory is one part. The second part is also the PPC advertising, which happens within Amazon. So Amazon is collecting 20% from the customer B2C, but how about the Amazon PPC advertising cost? Because if I'm spending like £7,000 to £8,000 a month as an advertising, because I've recently launched and I'm very aggressive with my Amazon store. So how does this is managed, and how is it treated, and what is the benefit that a seller can get out of it?
Yeah, I must apologize. I had to close down the Skype. It was popping up. So I missed part of your question. Could you please
Okay,
repeat?
I'll repeat it for you.
Yeah.
Basically, when we talk about the input cost, so
Yeah.
one major portion of the input cost is inventory that we import from China to UK. This is clear. The second part is the second biggest chunk of input is one is PPC advertising. Usually, Amazon sellers are spending, I would say, from £3,000 to £8,000, depending upon the size of the launch. But so let's say £5,000 on an average they spend on advertising, and Amazon is charging them 5,000. Okay, so in that case, what is the best scenario? What is the best solution? And is it 7.5 or what? How does it happen?
Okay. So you are saying that the second biggest input VAT chunk that your sellers have is through
The PPC advertising,
Yeah.
and the second and the third is the warehousing outside of Amazon, because usually we try to keep 4 to 6 months of inventory because of those disruptions in the supply chain. So what we do is we send part of our inventory directly to Amazon FBA, and rest of the inventory we park it outside of Amazon in a warehouse in Manchester, or let's say any other place.
Okay. So in those cases, now just considering these two factors, keeping the rest constant, is you don't have any input VAT claim in the FRS scheme. Again, you cannot claim any kind of input VAT if you are opt for FRS. So you have to consider all of these input VAT costs to your business, and then make the decision over for the FRS, either go for it or not go for it. So in this case, if you have suffered, like say for example, £5,000 in VAT, you do not have any right to claim it back.
Okay.
Yeah.
We will not give any recommendation because we need to evaluate each case by case. But
Yeah.
we are giving this information to audience, and they are smart enough to take the calls.
That's actually the correct way to go for any VAT scheme.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So one more question from Waleed. He's saying, if I'm sending goods to some other business that is VAT registered in the UK from China in their name, and I send it to Amazon using my business name or account, will I have to register for VAT or not?
Okay, if I'm sending goods to some other business that is VAT registered in the UK from China in their name, and then I send it to Amazon using my business
Okay,
name.
what's happening is there's a change of hands within UK. So firstly, Tosif imported. So Tosif is a clearing agent. He imported it into, or he's a freight forwarder. So he imported goods from China to UK with your name, and then now you transfer this business, this inventory to my name, and I send it to Amazon. So
Yeah, exactly. Number one, so you have ditched one possibility of a VAT registration when you are importing in someone's name who is already VAT registered. So I would definitely not recommend that. Number one, someone who imported it would be able to claim back the import VAT, not your business. If that is not someone you know personally and it's just a business agreement, so your business cannot claim back that VAT. That importer could. Number two, as soon as these goods are stored in your own business name, remember the rule of thumb. Now you are storing in the UK, you must register for VAT. So there is no point in ditching the import VAT part.
Excellent. So I'm just
Yeah.
skimming through other questions.
Maksud, I guess no, there is a lot of questions. So if you want to, we can answer some of them eventually because I'm sure that we'll have questions non-stop.
Okay, I
And
think
or
yeah, I
and
think this is a good idea.
and obviously, I mean, if Brexit is complicated, like to have said, the one-stop shop it's even more complicated. So probably we can do that as next. And I'm even scared when I talk about one-stop shop. I mean,
They have not even started on the OSS yet.
I know,
We
no,
are
and
just in the UK at this
and
point.
this is what we do. I mean, we try to actually educate in advance because we started doing webinars last year, and a lot of sellers of ours and partners they didn't prepare. So this is very good that Maksut is doing because it's good to be prepared in advance
Yeah.
because nobody wants to stop selling. I mean, that's the worst case scenario.
Yeah, Nick, but please allow me to ask a couple of more questions.
Sure, sure.
At least two questions. Okay,
Okay.
because it's you know it took us 2 months to set up this call and webinar, so I would like to take this opportunity.
Let's do free. Free is working now.
Okay. Um,
Do I have
okay.
a say in it?
One question. One question.
Yeah.
You recently there have been a lot of delays when it comes to VAT registration for people who are outside of UK.
Yeah.
In your opinion, what should we do? Because if I'm UK, I'm overseas UK, and I'm trying to have my VAT registration done, but it's taking time. What should we do to sort of avoid this delay?
Yeah. Okay. Number I would talk about the hurdles that I have as a VAT agent and consultant. A lot of time we ask the clients for some documents, particular documents, like uh, for example proof of address. A lot of sellers think if they have a company in the UK, so they provide addresses or proof of addresses for their UK business. When you are registering for VAT, the tax authorities will have to know where you are personally based. That could be Pakistan, that could be Canada, that could be anywhere. You have to give the proof of address of the director or the owner of the business where he is, number one, which a lot of people don't do, and that also takes a lot of time. Number two, uh, a lot of people do not provide the exact documents. I could understand the reason behind it because they are sensitive information. Some people are not willing to share or couldn't share or couldn't fetch those documents. The best option is to provide the documents which the tax authority asks for. For example, one proof of address is um, a marriage certificate. If you do have a marriage certificate, just provide it to them. If it is showing your name, business name, I'm sorry, if you're showing your name and address, definitely it will not show your business name. So provide correct documents on time, provide full documents. Another thing, so even with these full documents, it is not unusual in these times for the tax authority to take 3 months in VAT registration. Previously, it was a maximum of 30 days, but now with COVID, it is easily 3 months.
Recently, Tosif, they have also started asking about the bill of lading. If my inventory is moving from China to UK, and they are asking for bill of lading to proceed for VAT registration, is it so?
That's the second point I was coming to. That this is called pre-registration audit. If you get into a pre-registration audit, that could be for two reasons. Number one, since you are based outside of the UK. Number two, there was something missing in your documents or something incomplete information. A lot of people just would write, "We are selling goods on Amazon." This does not give them any information what you are selling. And every kind of goods have a different SIC code, have different laws. Are you meeting them, not meeting them? All of that. So if you get into a pre-registration audit, then the bill of lading is actually required. Not just the bill of lading, but also your import documents, your import agent, your shipping agent, your shipping company. All of that is required. Then you must answer that in detail. And also you have to attach all of those documents. The best thing is that you don't have to post them. They could be sent through email. So digitally, so that's something would save some time for you, but you must provide full documents. And also when you are communicating with the tax authorities, what happens sometimes is the tax authority would directly email the business without keeping the agent in touch. So just emailing the business directly. In that case, feel free to talk to them, because that's not a random automated generated email. That's a person sitting behind it. And in my experience, if you go in detail, providing more and more information of your business, how legit your business is, what you are doing, definitely helps your case.
Okay, excellent. This is a very good question, and I think Nick can also respond to this. Elaborate a case of UK company selling in Germany, and the inventory is planned to land in Germany. What are the VAT process in UK and Germany? So I think Nick, you guys can support with this process.
Yeah, actually, in Germany, there is one good news for Germany. Even though they're Germans, they accept the documents in English, which means no translation is needed. So
Oh, awesome.
that's and usually, obviously, Germany is the biggest market in Europe. Actually, is the biggest Amazon marketplace after the States. So Germany is a must, if you want to expand in Europe. And actually, uh, eventually, now I have even something else that I can recommend. I'm not sure if we have discussed that with Masoud, but there is a company called e-residency. They can actually
Okay.
help non-EU companies or like individuals to set up EU-based ID card online, and then you can set up an EU-based entity online.
Can
So
you please
that
put this companies in a comment box, or maybe
yes, we can discuss further. But if you want
yeah.
to, I think that's a good topic because it will be very helpful for your audience because you can do it online. So
Okay. I think we have. Like Nick said, we have so many questions. We will probably have to do another session anytime soon, and then we will probably move it accordingly. But I would like to say thank you very much for your time. I know, Nick, you have another meeting lined up, and it's
no,
already
actually we canceled it in the meantime, which is lucky for me. But I think to Seth needs to go, so I can stay and discuss further. But to Seth needs to go, and I want to thank him very well. He started doing webinars because I asked him, but he's a star right now. I mean, he's answering questions, he's doing very well. So please encourage him because I
And
know that he
I
can
think
do
I
it.
think I think one thing which is also for my audience, I would like to inform my audience that HelloTex is one of the seasoned platforms in Europe, operating in Europe, and I'm glad to see Tosi working for HelloTex. And by the way, I never knew Tosi before, and so HelloTex is open when it comes to hiring competent and skilled resources from across the world. And Nick told me proudly that he has got many other Pakistani competent resources who are working with him on different projects. Is it?
Actually, we're fully remote. I mean, like I told you, I used to be an e-commerce business owner. I used to run my company fully remote, and even though I was client of Hilltax, I joined solely because the company is fully remote. They don't discriminate over where you're located. They just look, like we have a saying in Bulgaria. They greet you by your look and they say the farewell after your brains, meaning that they don't judge you where you're located. And obviously, we know more better than me that that's not important. There is, and obviously, I mean, in this case, we can help like companies from everywhere. We have like employees in the States, in Asia, in Europe, anywhere. So
Excellent. Any other word of advice that you would like to give to our audience? Because we have plenty of Amazon sellers in Pakistan, whether they are within Pakistan or outside Pakistan, and many of our freelance community. By the way, if you are aware that Pakistan is fourth largest freelance market for the world. And it's providing its service. All our young fellows are providing services to people across the globe. So, do you want to give any suggestions, any word of advice to them on when it comes to VAT and other areas, so that they can also guide their clients and also people who are doing their sellings themselves? They should also take care of this.
in terms of setting up the business, and this is probably it would be another webinar, but this company, they're a partner of ours, e-residency. A lot of freelancers are using them. They establish an EU-based ID in a company. The thing is, it's done online. You guys work with fintech companies, so we're global. After COVID, everybody is working remotely. So uh, being, in Pakistan, Bulgaria, or whatever, it doesn't matter. I mean, everything is done much easier, and there are companies who are actually solving that. But like you said, there is probably that's a topic for another webinar, because I have a large ecosystem with partners, and this is what I'm doing. I'm connect. This is how actually we connected with you, and there is a lot of other companies who are actually in the e-commerce industry, so they need help from us. But all the time, I actually introduce them to other companies or like organizations like you. So this is what. So this is the idea, to connect and help each other, because if we do that, at the end, everybody will benefit from the relation.
Okay. Tosif, last word.
Yeah, it was a nice experience getting in touch and having a lot of questions from this group and our community. And I'm glad to see that we as Pakistani have a platform where we could sell on Amazon and explore this vast opportunity of new earnings. And I'm glad to be part of it.
Well, thank you very much, Nick and Tosif, for a wonderful session. I think it was very insightful. And to be honest, this single session will not be sufficient. We will plan some more sessions, and maybe we bring in some more experts on board as well from different domains. Lastly, thank you to e-commerce, Extreme Commerce, for all the great platform. This is an amazing ecosystem that Extreme Commerce has put in place for everyone to get benefit, and to sell and crush selling on Amazon or Etsy or Shopify. Thank you very much, everyone, and God bless you.
Thank you, Muslim. Thank you, everybody. Bye.